Semi-final number 1, race 1, American Magic, Rossa, Prada, Pirelli. There is, I gotta say, electric tension in the air, not just out on the bay, but in the commentary box. We have been waiting for this. The storylines are stunning, and I just got goosebumps, Kenny. I think that says it all.
Well, for sure, this is one of these like Nathan said, one of these windy, cold days. It just kind of feels like a boat breaker. Remember, there's an average wind speed they have to be below to race. So it's a 30-second average. Between 9 minutes and 4 minutes before the start, we can't trigger above that 30-second average of 21 knots. We are below that right now. Right now it'd be a go, but it just feels like a boat breaker day, Shirley.
Kenny, imagine your American Magic. The last time you sailed in breeze, it didn't end well. I mean, we're nervous in the box here, for sure. It's a big day for them.
Nathan, I've got to ask this question. So, as the highest-ranked semi-finalist, Rossa, they chose the starboard entry. Why?
Get the speed for a better way. I almost think we should do it.
Well, I guess the starboard entry, you get into the box a little bit later. Remember, it's a small starting box, a small area to operate in, and you know, the later you get in there, the easier it becomes. I'm expecting both boats are going to have to do, you know, a couple of manoeuvres in this pre-start because of the wind strength today, and you know, doing these tight turns in strong breezes are higher risk. So you know, they're going to let American Magic get in there first and follow them in and hopefully force an error.
Nathan, when we sailed last,
Great, yeah. The wind sampling period has been completed and this race is on as scheduled.
Race is on. Sorry, we're on. That's good news. Last time we saw American Magic, it was outside, out in the chop. Much flatter water today, so conceivably this should be a little safer, easier sailing for these boats. Is that fair to say?
Okay, guys, let's go up here.
Yeah, that's very fair to say, Ken. It's definitely flatter, and particularly up at the top marks. The top marks are right up underneath the land there. It's windy and it's flat, but it's really puffy. So they're not dealing with sea state today, but what they are dealing with is these vicious puffs that are dropping off the land. So, you know, I think teams will be approaching the marks and taking the safer option for the fairway. But you watch that speedo today, these boats are going to be cracking 50 knots for sure.
Nathan, you've been watching the teams do their practice laps. What's your feel? And just looking at the boats, American Magic set up a bit differently.
Yes, American Magic have got their bat wing main on that tiny main and a very small jib. Rossa's sail there is significantly bigger. Just looking at the boat sailing around, American Magic look way faster in a straight line. I think the real question is, do they have any gremlins? Can they get the boat around quick? But Prada haven't done a whole lot of sailing before the start, and they're getting ready to enter here. So I'll hand it over to you guys. But good race coming up here.
Yeah, divest that 35th birthday cake, buddy. They are flying, both these boats as we head towards port entry, which will be American Magic. They can come in at 2 minutes and 10 seconds. We're not too far away, but there is pace on for this first semi-final in the Prada Cup. And look at how quickly they are coming into port entry. 2 minutes and 10 seconds gone, and they're on their way in.
It's going to be fascinating to watch and hear the reaction from American Magic. They just come off the foils right there already. They've had stability problems, Shirley, with that small mainsail, because they're right on the edge of control sometimes. If you take away that sail area in the back, happy to job. They seem to struggle with that sail.
Yeah, difficult to manage the boat with that. But Prada taking their time to get in the box. As Nathan said, a very small boat. And they're going pretty fast.
Yeah. You've got to say, this is one of those days, and I go back to Jimmy Spittle about a week or so ago when he said, we are racing on the edge, or the end of a race. This feels like it's going to be edge from the get-go.
Match what he does, I think.
He's just eagled back on the port.
Yeah. And we do the same, I think. We do the same.
Might be able to set up for attack
right now. Snakes and ladders down into the very bottom edge of the box, trying to get control, trying to get in that position. They put both boards down when they want to go slowly.
Beautiful look from our virtual eye you saw just a moment ago of this race score setup. The favoured course.
I think Prada's going to try to lead back here. They're going to try to push American Magic as far as they can and then lead back to the starting line.
you racing on the line, okay?
American Magic is in a very vulnerable spot right now. Very vulnerable. If Prada can stay up on their foils and stay slow, American Magic is in trouble.
20 seconds to race start. Look at this.
Go the line.
Okay, full speed, just as in the line, as in the line.
I'm going to go below red, Pietro.
Below
Yeah,
red.
copy.
No, change. I'm going above.
Copy.
Luna Rossa is away. It's down and the clock has started on Prada Cup. Semi-final race 1. Luna Rossa with the advantage, and look at the speed they are going as they finally get across the start line. Wow!
Beautiful starting there by Jimmy Spittle. The starboard hand side found his squeeze American Magic, slowed them down. They came off the foil. He picked the exact time when to pull the trigger.
Parker has struggled on time and distance back to the line in each of the starts they've sailed in so far in that round robin series, and struggled again. They were late. They put themselves in a vulnerable. It's easy for us to say here on the couch, right? But they were late. It really, from a minute out, they were vulnerable.
25 to boundary. He's tagged. He's standing by. Cross it. Yeah, copy.
How much of this do you think is them just getting back on the horse again? You know, we gotta all understand that what they went through 10 days ago was life-threatening. I don't think that's an overstatement to say, right?
There's a lot of that. And you think the confidence you have in the machine as well, they're still building that confidence that it's all going to work.
No rotation?
Yeah, I mean, they were in a car crash. They crashed that boat and are still, I'm sure, very much recovering from that.
So we're on the upwind leg. It is an 8-leg race. That's basically 4 laps of stadium course number C. Nathan on the water. Kenny suggested vulnerability for American Magic. Are you seeing that at this point?
Well, I think what we saw there was the power of the starboard tack entry coming in later, and Francesco Bruni and Jimmy Spittle managed to tack themselves into a spot and actually block Dean Barker getting back to the start line there. So that was a little bit of the power, I think, of just being that starboard entry. And what I'm seeing now is it's getting puffy at the top of the course, and American Magic making a little comeback at right now. That boat looks harder to sail with that smaller sail area. And, you know, Luna Rossa right next to us here, tacking on the boundary.
Hi, rudder.
Plenty of pressure at the top of the course, that's for sure.
Okay, my trap.
Good to see American Magic.
Up on 2-1. Looks like riding. No average,
The
actually.
start and how Luna Rossa got the advantage, because they look good right now, but we're only on leg 1.
Yeah, this was American Magic's tax over onto starboard here. We called it earlier that Luna Rossa was going
You're racing on the
to
line,
lead
okay?
them back to the line. Not just lead them back, but they had an overlap. They had that really powerful lure position. They had an overlap. They could actually prevent American Magic from pulling the trigger. So really kind of a tough spot surely to be in if you're Dean Barker right there. And sure enough, they couldn't get out of it.
No room to get underneath them. They were fooling.
Yeah, same mark for the
Go
moment.
fast.
For them.
Now look, Kenny, look at their top speeds. Great breeze on that right-hand side.
Luna Rossa powering towards the top gate for the first time at just under 38 knots, with the advantage on American Magic in this semi-final number 1 of the Prada Cup. And they just whiz around.
Rudder. 3.
Okay.
2.
Here comes American Magic. 18 seconds the difference. But you can see the speed on the down at the start of Prada is knocking 50 knots.
Big one, boys. Big one.
You got yellow on your bow. Copy that. Full yellow.
Great speed downwind.
Might need 2 boards here.
20 seconds.
Happy to go. Happy to go. We'll join. Turning now.
Anybody yet here, Shirley and Steven, like they're just feeling out the race course. It's 2 boats not just against themselves, but against the race course right now, because as Nathan described, this is marginal. You know, this is right on the edge, and when it's that puffy, you go around the weather mark, right, Shirley? You go around the weather mark and a big puff, it could be 24, 25 knots out there. That's full on.
Kenny, they are not holding back. We've seen a top speed from the USA of 50.5 knots. It's like 60 miles an hour. You know, they may have come in with some nerves, but boy, they have gone now.
Look at Rossa Prada Pirelli. The foot is firmly on the floor. The hammer is down, Nathan. We asked the question about what they were like in heavy winds. I think they've answered the question at the moment.
Yeah, you still got time.
I think. Not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're 100% right. We all had question marks on how fast Rossa were in the breeze, and right now they don't look slow to me. They are absolutely ripping out this run. We're in the camera cast, and both boats are getting away from us right now. We cannot keep up with them.
Really nice boat there.
Pressure here. 10 seconds.
With Rossa and listening to Shirley. We talk about the speeds, we talk about the excitement. They're coming up on the ley line here. They're going to do a jibe toward the mark, but they seem pretty under control in that boat. Their voice level seems really almost
and then good breeze on.
Yeah. We had lots of questions, didn't we, about the communications between these two operators this morning and Jimmy Spittle. But today, it's sharper, it's clearer.
Stand by, boys.
Bottom
Turning up
gate
in
for the
3,
first time.
2,
Rossa
1. Turning up. Nice and smooth
in
there.
charge. You heard Jimmy Spittle, nice and smooth there. The gap at the top gate was 16 seconds. Here comes American Magic. This feels like somewhat of a drag race at the moment between these two boats. American Magic comes around the gate.
Anything fancy, right, Stephen? That we've seen in the past when the boats are behind, they do anything they can to get away from the other boat, from the competitor, go the opposite direction. They are not doing any of that right now. They're getting around the racetrack. They're feeling themselves out in a boat that has all new systems on board.
8 legs in this race. Remember that. There is a long, long way to go.
You know, I was thinking about that a minute ago, but you know, we were talking about 25-minute races. We could blow that out of the water at these speeds, couldn't we?
Okay, wait up. The pressure in front. Patience, they're coming up.
Max speed.
A little bit of a left here.
It's 50.5 knots. Oh my goodness. Almost 58 miles an hour. Over 58 miles an hour. The Italian's not too far behind, Shirley. You know, they had a paltry 1 knot slower. My goodness, they got to get their act together.
Kenny Reid, they are not even trying.
Happy to go.
On board American Magic.
Happy to be on starboard.
Copy, standing by. Cross it. Anytime. 2, 1, we're down.
Kenny, I mean, what are they going to do? I think they just have to wait for their opportunities. They are only just over 300 meters behind. Just wait, execute those maneuvers well, take their chance.
300 meters is essentially a one mistake distance, right, between the two boats. So, listen, it's windy enough, it's puffy enough, it's chippy enough. We've seen from the boats in the past. Rossa was ahead of Ineos in the last race, in that classic race last week, by this amount, and they just came chewing right back into it.
Looks like it's a really good leg at the moment for American Magic, setting it at 43 knots as opposed to just under 39 knots, so they could make a gain here.
BMG's very similar, though. A lot of these boats have slightly higher, slower modes. I don't know if we could ever say a slower mode. Higher, slower modes, lower, faster modes. It depends on where you are in the wind shift. In this puffy, shifty condition, they might be drag racing through a big right-hand shift right now. You just never know. They're really good at boating, sure.
Looks pretty solid, top right though. Still think one and then right.
Okay, transition here in 3. Here, lefty. Okay. Release.
A little trim back up and a little light.
Yeah,
Just a little bit. Pull the one away.
Super controlled on that boat, you guys.
Be a little righty on the way back, Pietro.
Shirley asked this question in the beginning of the show. Were they going to make any differences to their communication? We thought we heard it break down the last time they sailed the race, and this sounds like a different boat to me.
Yeah. Luis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your trap?
Yeah, my trap. Big pressure here.
Big gust on the mark, okay?
Yeah, copy.
Okay, my trap.
Okay. Stand by for a better way, guys.
Yeah.
Better way in 3, 2, 1. Better away.
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli around the top gate to complete leg number 3. Looked a little skittery with those puffy, those gusts up the top end, but they are on their way down the second downwind leg as American Magic set themselves up for the gate rounding.
When their voices go up 8 or 9 levels, talking about a puff, you know it's a big puff.
Your mark, Terry?
Yep. Bow's coming down here in 4, 3, 2, 1. Bow's coming down.
American Magic around the top gate. The lead is pegged out of the favourite. Luna Rossa now 33 seconds. They are flying both these. But what a magnificent sight is American Magic right now.
New high speed of the day, 50.8 knots.
25 to boundary.
You know, the American team has set up with smaller sails. We can also see that. They've got their back wing out, this tiny, tiny jib. Yet, Kenny, they are nailing the pace today.
Nice to hear. Yeah.
Okay, my trip.
On these days, you know, this is the one thing that we've been astounded with the style of racing is how shifty the conditions have been and how that has allowed people to get back into the race by just good old-fashioned playing the wind shifts. Yes, you're going 50 knots, but wind shifts still rule the water. If you don't do the right, things can go bad very quickly.
There is something different about Luna Rossa today. I go back to Paul Goodison on American Magic. So if we can get our start right and not make a mistake, we'll not get past. I'm looking at Luna Rossa now going, hang on a minute, that applies to this team right now.
Better comms, clearer comms, also better manoeuvring. I mean, when we saw them race before, it seemed a little bit hit and miss, but today it's slick.
Let's go on board Luna Rossa.
All good, guys. All good. Thanks.
Plenty of steam. Plenty of
Big righty, sir. In the bank.
Can lay left or we go straight?
Yes.
Then put in the bank at the moment.
Francesco Bruni,
Over.
co-helmsman.
I think a lane left here, guys.
Pressure increasing.
Potential for an early take.
Yes,
or
remember,
JK.
if you need to, you can do eagle rounding.
JK,
It's up to you.
yeah, eagle rounding, yes, it will be eagle rounding.
They all have their codes, don't they? Eagle rounding and JK. I think we know what a
Eagle
JK
rounding,
stands for. Eagle rounding, I believe, is another version of sticking
3,
both foils in
2,
the water,
1,
right?
more down,
They got to get their terminology.
and coming up.
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, rounding the bottom gate to complete leg number 4. Halfway through this first semi-final of the Prada Cup against Patriot and the American Magic campaign. Smooth as silk today.
And they kept those two boards down quite long that time. Actually, it was interesting. Very interesting movement. Like they didn't want to tack quite right away because the other boat might have been in kind of their peripheral vision.
And American Magic around the bottom gate to complete the halfway stage of the semi-final, and the gap has not changed, still 33 seconds. So if we go on the water with Nathan Allerich, is there any way you can see American Magic? I know we're only halfway through of dragging in Luna Rossa, Nathan.
Keep it going, keep it going.
Well, to me it looks like watching American Magic, they're almost just delivering the boat around the track right now. They're not really attacking the race. They're not really putting a huge fight up against Luna Rossa. Luna Rossa are doing a great job of just positioning themselves between their opponent and the mark. But, you know, to me, just from the sidelines here, watching American Magic going around, it's really a race with themselves and the boat at the moment. And who knows if they've got any issues, but right now, Rossa aren't giving them any chances in this race. Once again, we see them just tacking to protect their lead. It's puffy out here, so there's always an opportunity, but you know, Luna Rossa are not really giving them any sniff at it at the moment.
Good mode. Coming up a little bit.
Okay.
Pressing.
Okay.
See a transition, guys, I think we're going to see a transition of American Magic just getting comfortable again. We all have to understand the trauma and drama, but trauma of that situation they were in last week. You can talk the talk. It's easy to say, yeah, you know, we're bigger than this, we're mentally bigger than this, but the fact is, I agree with Nathan 100%. They're feeling out the race course right now. They're not doing anything crazy. They're getting themselves around, and they'll keep getting better by the minute, certainly by the race, but I think by the minute. We'll see more aggressive maneuvers out of them as this race goes along.
615 metres and counting the distance between Luna Rossa and American Magic. I wonder how much chatter that there is on board American Magic and what they're thinking about right now as we get to the top of leg 5.
100 right.
Stephen, I spoke to Paul Goodison. We can see the back of him there. He's controlling that giant mesa. I spoke to his wife this morning and asked how Paul was. And she said she'd never seen him so driven. So they might be delivering this yacht round in race 1, but they are determined to make today count.
Most encouragingly for whoever the team are watching from their base, it looks good. We haven't seen a gremlin. Touch wood, no gremlins at the moment from American Magic. That's a really strong sign. 12 days of toil for American Magic to get to this point. It really is a marvel and an enormous team effort. Speaking of teams, it's Luna Rossa, Prada, Pirelli still in the lead in semi-final number 1 as they complete leg number 5 of 8. They are so smooth today. It was 33 seconds at the bottom gate. Keep your eye on the bottom right and see if that's extended any further or American Magic is staying on pace.
I would just say stretched out a little bit.
Really
there,
think we're going to
Shirley.
stay here for a while.
You know, they're just sailing smooth. They put themselves in phase early. They did that quick tack around the bottom gate. They put themselves in phase with American Magic. Just putting their foot on the throat right now. They're not letting it off.
Quick, get up in this pressure. Go boys, big push.
Let's see if they can bust their 50.8 record as they round this mark.
American Magic atop, approaching the top gate to complete leg number 5, and it has gone off the pace somewhat. It was 33 seconds after leg 4. It's now just under them at 58 seconds. Both are flying. One might say, surely, that Luna Rossa is just playing the better race.
Big crash there for the American team.
Go boys. Had to go inside the boundary here.
Think about attack.
Have to tack around here.
Our apologies for the quick expletive there from Helms and Dean Barker, but you can imagine they've been going so well, and suddenly as they start leg number 6, it's a tough splashdown.
Stephen, it looks like
This is the umpires. Boundary penalty, USA.
Slightly here. Run up.
Easy. It's easy. Yep.
So boundary penalty for American Magic.
Penalty clear.
It looks okay from how we said, and they're back up and going. So, you know, you go back to what has been said before, maybe they're just feeding this boat out.
Stephen, so hard to sail this kind of boat, knowing that, you know, something might go wrong. How do you push hard?
back up and foiling. And away go American Magic. That's a good sign. That's an encouraging sign for all involved. Remember, it's the first of four here. There's 7 races in this semi-finals series.
The good news is it's first to 4 in a 7-race series. The bad news is it's only first to 4 in a 7-race series. I mean, this is a quick series.
The way they're flying at the moment is going to be even quicker, probably the quickest in history, as Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli. Bottom gate, complete leg number 6 and start leg number 7. They will have blown this lead up because of the splashdown by American Magic. But the one thing we are seeing that we are probably all going, really? They are smooth, they are calm, they are calculated, and they just are slick today, Shirley.
Stephen, I've been round at the Prada Cup a bit this week, and it's been stressful. I think that phenomenal race we had last weekend against the British team, Ineos, was a wake-up call to them. And there's been a whole host of improvements, most of which I guess we can't see, but it just looks to be working today.
The one thing that they have not been backward at coming forward about is confidence. Every time the Italians have been interviewed, it has all been about confidence. Bruni has always gone on about saying this boat is getting faster. Example A in front of you right now.
More pressure in front.
This is what happened to American Magic. Can he take a closer look?
Yeah, went around the mark and just in their bear-off, whether they had a mechanical problem on board or just kind of bailed out of that maneuver, we'll have to find out. But let's not forget that it was a bear-off maneuver that caused their tragedy. Nathan, we saw American Magic go around that mark and kind of bail out of their turn. Did you see anything strange? Were you close by them when that happened?
Well, we were right next to them when it happened, and I was also watching the monitor on board here. I saw them do 53 knots in that bearaway. So, man, that's bloody fast for a bearaway. They were absolutely ripping there. And then I saw them drop the windward board. It looked like maybe they were struggling for a bit of grip or a bit of steerage, and they dropped the windward board. And you know, when boats start going that fast, foils start cavitating, you start losing a bit of control. So potentially that's what happened to them there. But it's nice that they got the recovery underway and back going around the course. But I think what it shows you is how close to the edge both of these boats are. And that was the first time a boat had turned right at the top mark. It's much windier on the right-hand side of the course than the left, and so they were turning into a lot of pressure in that bearaway.
American Magic around the bottom gate, and they're heading up on leg number 7, well behind Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli. Apologies for a couple of loose expletives there, but there is the gap, 2 minutes and 25 seconds. And in this type of race, that's pretty much game over for American Magic today. But Luna Rossa, the advantages they will be taking from this, the confidence will be enormous.
53.3 knots around that west. Sorry, I can't get rid of that number. First of all, it has to, you know, there's a possibility, surely, that's just pure cavitation. That's when the foil doesn't work anymore. That's when nothing works anymore. The faster you go with these foils, the more on edge they are. They have a little zone that they work best in, but 53 knots, I'm not sure anybody was expecting that.
That is close to 62 miles an hour, thereabouts, which is just under 100 kilometers now in this part of the world. That is quick.
Is it right here? Yeah.
3, 2, 1, board down, 30.
Three Bill. Okay, my rudder.
Spittle now taking the
Taking up there, my trap, yeah. Got already gone on, and 2, 1, pull it on here.
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli about to complete the penultimate leg of this first semi-final and this Prada Cup. They have been on point from the get-go. Were it for one splashdown in the last leg by American Magic, the gap would be a lot closer, but they have been pretty much in charge. And just when you're saying they make a slight error, and then they quickly get back up on the foils. But they're on the Homeward leg, Luna Rossa.
I think if there's such a thing as taking it easy around that top mark, that's where bad things can happen. As we know, it seemed to me that they kind of tried to take it easy as much as possible.
I think they've more control today. You know, when the rudder's not, you know, letting go on those barroways, they look more confident in each of these maneuvers.
They're coming on starboard, so keep an eye on them.
Pressure increasing here, Keiko.
Coming down a bit.
You know what is surprising? Jimmy Spiller.
This is finished.
Quite quiet. We do know he loves gas, but he's quite quiet today.
Maybe it was the lecture from the rugby star before the race.
Richie McCaw, two-time World Cup winning captain. Just wanted to throw that one in.
You pointed that out.
We did have to. He's an incredible individual, and as far as high performance goes, guys like Spittle can learn a little bit, as opposed to the other side.
Maybe he said, "Get your act together, Jimmy, or I'm going to break you in half," like most other rugby players.
American Magic. They are the chase boat basically now. They are chasing Luna Rossa home. But you know, when you think about it, we've just seen two moments. Their splashdown, American Magic splashdown, and one mini splashdown. Now, if that had been any closer, we could be talking a different story, such as the fragility, you might say, of sailing these boats.
3, 2,
just such huge credit to the entire team at American Magic for just getting the boat in position to be out there and race right now. The electronics, the hydraulics, they rewired every square inch of that boat. I can't fathom the amount of effort that went into it. So just on behalf of all of us in the sailing community, just so well done to American Magic. Now it's a rebuild on the water, right, Shirley? Now they got to rebuild their heads and their maneuvers and everything else. They haven't been out there in 10 days except for a little bit of time the last couple.
That's good. Nice.
It's Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli approaching the finish of semi-final #1 in the Prada Cup in 2021, and they have basically sailed a flawless race, and here they go across the line. It will be Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli with the first point in the semi-final series, and they'll go that one step closer to the Prada Cup final. Why wouldn't their fans be happy about that one? Smooth as silk today for the Italians.
And they will do a two-board round up here. I mean,
very well done. I mean, find an error, right? Find an error in that one. You'd have to look awful hard to find any sort of error in that race for these guys. Really impressive.
You don't often see Jimmy Spittle with the fist bump. They're pleased. I mean, they've worked so hard this week as well, and a lot of pressure from Italy to deliver.
A lot of pressure for all these teams, but I think for Prada, Shirley, I think they were feeling it. There's no question about it.
Yeah. Go where you'd like.
You are seeing American Magic on its final leg of this first semi-final. And the most encouraging sign is that, yes, they've had one splashdown, but that boat is flying. It has recorded the fastest speed of the day, a little over 53, that's right, 53 knots. Calculate that to close to 62 miles an hour, or just under 100 kilometers an hour. But they're stable, they're flying. It is a Herculean effort to get this boat where it is today, and it is only one race of 7. Let us be quite clear here. It's one race.
I know it looks a little loose and we could be critical, but actually this is a celebration. To get this boat round the track in this much breeze after what they went through, it's a massive race for the team.
Well, let's just be a little bit honest here. You and Kenny were slightly nervous ahead of the start of this race because we were privy to see some pictures of them warming up, and it looked a bit skittery.
We found ourselves going... I don't know if you can hear us at home, but there were some nervous moments, right? For all of us, I think for the whole sailing world, all the fans out there, it is one of those cold, nasty, like Nathan said, those dense wind days that just, as a sailor, sometimes it's like, wow, this just doesn't feel quite right. Well, I'll tell you what, for Prada, it feels and looks really right.
Finish with a...
This boat, Kenny, it does look a little loose. It's not quite on rails like Prada. It's just not quite there yet.
You got a feeling that they are well in this game on the back of this performance. They may not have taken race one, but they are crossing the line, and that is a celebration and a victory in itself. American Magic crossed the line to finish semi-final one of the Prada Cup, 2 minutes and 43 to the deficit of Rossa Prada Pirelli. But wow, what an exciting race just to watch these magnificent AC75s in high wind.
And speeds, Stephen, like we've not seen before. You know, you can't really expect these foils to go up to those kind of speeds and not see problems, and that's what we were seeing.
Confirmation of semi-final race number one, and it's Rossa Prada Pirelli with the 1 point and a 2 minutes and 43 second win over American Magic.